Well, as we were just discussing this week the government announced an unprecedented set of measures to support the economy through coronavirus. They are prepared to step up and pay up to 80% of people's wages if they would lose their jobs otherwise, and also provide billions of pounds of loans and grants to businesses. Well, the CBI worked with the government and trade unions to come up with this package, and their Director General, Carolyn Fairbarn, joins us now from Winchester. Thank you for being on the programme today. You worked with the government to come up with these measures. Are you happy with the final package?
Well, it was an extraordinary package at the end of the day. I mean, last week it's fundamentally a human crisis, but last week it really became an economic crisis as thousands, if not millions of jobs were on the line. And I had employers phoning me in tears at the prospect of having to let so many people go. And the package that was put in place on Friday recognised two things fundamentally: that this was about keeping people in jobs so that they have livelihoods and that we have an economy that we can build when we come out of this, and also cash, so the loans and indeed the foregoing of suspension of tax. So unprecedented package. There will need to be more, and I know the government is working on that now, but it was a breakthrough.
Yeah, you say that there will need to be more. I mean, we heard from Jeremy Corbyn earlier, who was talking about self-employed people, £94 a week, not enough to live on, talking about people who are renting in that situation in particular. What do you think the government does need to do?
Well, £94 is not enough for the self-employed to live on. And I know that the government, with business and with the Federation of Small Business, are working as we speak to find a solution to this. I think we just have to recognise that this is totally unprecedented, what we're facing. And the pace at which we can do this is determined by the people working on it flat out, coming up with solutions across business and government. That is a priority. Another priority is that there are some businesses in that mid-size range between small and large who are also going to need funding. That's a gap at the moment. That's being worked on. And Sophie, the final thing that has to happen is that the banks ensuring that the money is getting out of the door. And we're seeing a lot of action on that as we speak as well.
As you say, it is unprecedented. I mean, the amount of sums that we could be talking about over a prolonged period of time is mind-blowing. The sort of money that we'll all be paying off for perhaps our whole lifetimes. Is it possible for the government to be able to raise this kind of money?
Well, I think it is, because we don't have this was not an economic problem when it started. So we have a fundamentally strong economy. If we can protect it, if we can keep people in jobs, if we can protect our businesses, then when this virus passes, we will be able to rebuild. So it is a task worth borrowing for. It is a task, I think, worth fighting for. And the way that we saw last week, I think business and government and unions and communities come together is the way forward. It felt like the beginning of the fight back, Sophie. It will take big borrowing, but if we can have a strong economy coming out of the other end, it will have been worth it.
I mean, what it will also need is for businesses to do their part, to act responsibly, to not lay people off, to not take advantage of any loopholes in this very hastily drawn up legislation. Are you confident that businesses will act responsibly?
I am really confident of that. What we are seeing across the country is an extraordinary stepping up by business. I'm talking to distilleries who are now making hand sanitizers, to manufacturers who are now moving into making ventilators. This is a UK-wide effort that's bringing businesses and communities together. I am confident of that. If we have government creating the incentives and the environment for them to be able to do the right thing, we will see that. So many more people are in jobs today than were on Friday because of action the government has taken and action the business has taken.
You say you're confident that business will act responsibly. At the same time, though, The Times reported this week that EasyJet had going to go ahead with a £174 million dividend payout to its shareholders, while at the same time asking taxpayers for support for coronavirus. I mean, how is that acceptable in any way?
Yes. Yes, I think you will have a lot of businesses who are now looking to how they control their costs and how they protect their people. And I do urge businesses to think very carefully about how they make those judgments. The only point I would make,
EasyJet wrong?
Is that we are all... Sorry?
Was EasyJet wrong?
I'm not going to make comment. I'm not going to make comments on particular companies. I know that companies are looking extremely hard at how they make this fair. This can't be made right for everybody. No government can make this right for everybody, and no business can make it right for everybody. But I do know that businesses are looking at how they make this fair. And we do need to remember that we are all shareholders. Through our pensions, through our savings, we are all shareholders. So how that is done, and I do urge businesses to look very hard at how we make the sacrifice fair across our country. And I think that's what the package on Friday has helped us to do, and businesses will support every way they possibly can.
And just finally, I just want to take a step back and just really take in just how unprecedented this really is. I mean, a UK government for the first time saying they'll step in to pay people's wages. We've never seen that in wartime. We've never seen that in any previous recessions. Our economics editor, Ed Conway, described it as capitalism being paused. Do you think that things will ever be the same again?
I do think that we are going to change as a result of this. We are going to be allocating our capital and our people in different ways to make sure that this doesn't happen again in the same way, to prepare for pandemics, to have track and tracing systems that enable us to do things differently. So, yes, I do. But on the other hand, I do think that markets are fantastically good at delivering innovation and getting people and capital to the right things. We are beginning to see that. We're beginning to see resources reused across the economy to make ventilators, to do the right thing. And I think we will see more of that. So markets, I think, have a lot to bring to this, although there will be lessons that we reflect on, I'm sure of that.
OK, Carolyn Fairbarn, thank you very much for being on the programme today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sophie.